What's going on? Today I wanted to go over all of the modifications that I have done to my C8 Corvette after owning it for the last 17 months. So what I did was I wrote down every single modification that I made on this list here, and I'm gonna go over every single one and also tell you the price and how much at the end I spent on everything. Just for a disclaimer, I'm not going to include the PPF that I have on the front half of the car. I'm not going to include the window tint. So aside from that, this is going to be everything that I have purchased after picking up the car. So we're going to start from the front, work our way to the back, then open up the engine bay, and then of course go on the interior and just go over every single thing one by one. So starting off with the front of the car, the first thing that you probably notice is going to be the rims, I would say, because you know a lot of people know what the stock C8 rims look like, and this is clearly not stock anymore. Now I did go all out on a couple of these items, but I'm very happy with the fact that the Apex rims that I have on this car are very cost effective. They're forged, they look great, and they're really not that bad in terms of pricing. So as for the rims themselves, there was a group buy going on when I purchased these, and they ended up only being $2,883.14 after tax and shipping and all that. And of course, because we have the aftermarket rim size, they are wider, and these are actually 18s in the front. I have 18s in the front, 19s in the back. They do take a wider tire. So we are running the Michelin PS4S still. I was hoping to go up to the Supercar 3s like I had on the ZL1, but unfortunately there was a whole tire, out of stock crisis going on at the time, and this is all I could find. So the tires were an extra $1,741.81. And that is the 275s in the front and the 325s in the rear. Again, all the modifications while I'm going over all this are gonna be in the description. And if you're wondering about the center caps, I had to take them out because when I got these new tires put on, I did have a flat, unfortunately, a couple months ago. They found that the center caps were actually like melting from how much tracking I was doing. I don't know why exactly. I didn't think that would be a problem, but I was just like, you know what, just take them off. Looks even more aggressive as it is. Now, of course, they are mounted on some pretty intense looking lug nuts. So these are the Raceseng titanium lug nuts, and these cost me $912.78. Now, along with the rim and the lug nuts, I did have everything ceramic coated, but I am not going to include that in the price because I don't know, it just feels like kind of like the PPF situation. It's kind of just something you would expect to do to your rims or lug nuts. Now, the most recent upgrade that I did to the car is the slotted rotors. So we have the Girodisc slotted rotors in the front and the rear. For a full set of those, that's gonna run you $2,100. And then of course, on top of that, we did get the upgraded brake pads by Carbotech. So I have the Carbotech XP10s in the front. Those are $319. And I have the Carbotech XP8s in the rear, and that's going to be $231. Now, moving on to the tow hooks, this is probably the second thing that you're going to notice on the car, especially now with the red strap that I added to it. It really stands out. It looks super aggressive and like a track car with that tow hook there. So this is the Raceseng titanium tow hook, and the tow hooks themselves for the front and the rear were $775.12. That's because I got a discount on them. They are usually more, but thankfully I had that discount. As for the straps were $35 each, so $70 total. That's for the front and the rear. Now, if we're gonna go to the rear really quick, just to check that one out too, because on the rear, I actually have the GoPro mount on the back. And believe it or not, the GoPro mount itself is another $83.46 after tax. So yeah, there you go with that. So back to the front of the car, next up on the list is going to be the radiator guards from Custom Car Grills. Now, this was actually the first modification that I did to this car, one of them at least, and this is to protect the radiators, of course. That is a common problem on the C8. If you don't have these guards, you're probably gonna get a bunch of, bent radiator fins, which don't end up looking too pretty. And I got these for $164.24. Next up, we're gonna have to open up the front hood because I do have two things to mention actually. So on the bottom of this, I'll show you in the trunk, there is a something called a cargo liner. It's a Jake Skull cargo liner that I got from the Chevy website. And that is something I purchased after I picked up the car. So those ran $150 for the front and the rear. Next up is going to be these Paragon Performance cap covers. Now I do have 4 of them on the car, 2 in the front and 2 in the rear trunk area. So these I didn't individually price out, but totaled them up and the total cost was $181.96. Now also under the front hood, we have something that I'm not gonna feel like pulling off, but we do have the front strut covers. That way, you know, it's supposed to keep the water out of those struts because apparently people have found water in it and started to rust and stuff. So that was also one of the first things I did aside from the radiator grill guards. And these are Bill Faro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I have the Bill Faro. It's on Amazon, front strut tower covers, and they were $54.74. So I believe that is it for the front part of the car. Now we're gonna move to the side, aside from, you know, of course, the rims and tires that we did. And the next thing is going to be the mirrors. So the mirrors themselves are actually the Paragon Performance wide angle mirrors. And this is something also that I did pretty recently. These are super useful, especially going to the track. You know, unfortunately on the driver's side, you do lose the dim kind of feature. But with my tinted windows, I honestly couldn't even use the driver mirror at night because it was just too dark. Looking through the tinted side window and then having to look at a tinted mirror, it was basically just pitch black. I could see, you know, with someone on high beams on, I could look straight and see the bulb of their light. I mean, it was just so tinted, it wasn't even like worth it. So while I did lose that dimming feature, I gained a lot of visibility on the side mirrors, which I think is way more useful. So these Paragon Performance wide angle mirrors, this is the chrome one, as you can see, were $179.99. Now coming over to the driver's side really quick, another thing on top of the fact that they're wide angle, they do have this little LED arrow that shows through the mirror itself. It's kind of like an integrated arrow. Another little touch that I really like about these mirrors. And then if you move over to the side, you'll see that not only are these smoked compared to the clear factory ones, these are sequential mirror turn signals. So these were also Paragon Performance and they are $129.99. So that's about it for the front of the car and the side exterior of the car. Of course, I do have this track decal vinyl sticker. I'm not gonna include that. It's, I don't know, it's probably like 30 bucks or something for both. And so it's not that big of a deal. But on the back now, there is quite a bit going on. The first thing we're gonna talk about is, of course, the digital license plate. Now, these are becoming extremely popular out here in California now. I'm pretty much seeing them on all types of cars at this point. And I was lucky enough, I'm not gonna lie, to win this from a Diamond Auto Salon. So shout out to them. They had a car event, man, that was like last summer, I think. And I was one of the lucky winners. They gave out 2 of these plates and someone else in our Valley Vet crew actually won the other one. So this is technically was free for me, but total value for the plate, you are supposed to have a subscription to be able to change, for instance, the little message on the bottom that says budget Ferrari. So this plate is worth $861.60. Now also on the rear of the car, the thing that you might notice or may not is the taillights are actually tinted. So I have the 3 different tint sections on the taillights from Paragon Performance. And in total for both sides, all angles, it was $37.85. So as for like physical appearance things, we're gonna go into the exhaust next. Of course, that's probably the next thing you might notice. There is nothing else that I did to the exterior of this car. There are no ground effects. Again, as you can see, it's just a plain, I have the standard rear section, rear bumper, rear diffuser, if you wanna call it a diffuser. I have the standard side skirt. There is no extension on there yet. And then I have the boring, ugly front splitter looking thing that all that needs to be changed sooner than later. I'd still, again, I have this stock wing. I do like the look of the car with the low profile wing. I really, really think it looks classy and definitely gives off a Ferrari vibe, especially with the red. But, you know, being at the track, I really do want that extra downforce. So I'm going to have an absolutely massive wing on here someday. I don't know when, but I want pretty much the biggest wing that I could get. And obviously the most effective too is most important to me. I really want it for the actual use of the wing, not just for the looks. So next up on the rear of the car, we're gonna go right into that exhaust. I have the CORSA exhaust. Now I had a lot of different things going on with the exhaust. I used to have a Paragon Performance titanium exhaust, which, as you can imagine, when I have this, I took the rear screen off of the rear bumper on the lower section here, and you kind of see right through to that X pipe. And I gotta say, when that titanium exhaust was on there with a titanium hook, oh, you bet it looked freaking awesome. But unfortunately, I had some issues with it moving on me. I haven't heard anyone else with the issues that I had, so, you know, it really kind of sucks. I felt like I don't know what happened, honestly. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We did end up having the CORSA exhaust installed after all said and done. And, you know, it doesn't really look anything too special. The black tips are nice. I do need to wash them and clean them out. They're pretty dirty, but overall definitely looks aggressive. Looks like a track car with that screen out. And then, of course, that Raceseng tow hook and red strap hanging down. It just looks super aggressive and track focused. So for my CORSA exhaust, I did not get any valves. This is the CORSA Extreme or CORSA Track exhaust. Essentially, it's just a straight pipe. This exhaust cost me $2,199.99. Now, something else with the exhaust that I had a problem with when the titanium exhaust was moving around is actually it burned a hole in my rear fender liner. It's gonna be hard to really kind of see it, but there is a hole back there from the titanium exhaust, essentially rubbing up against the fender liner. But the way I blocked it is because I ended up getting the CORSA blackout heat shielding. And so technically, Paragon thankfully was able to cover that for me because of what happened. So I didn't pay any money out of pocket for that, but they are $99.99. But it's nice, it matches the actual CORSA exhaust. So on the back of the car, as you can see, I started putting these little vinyl stickers. This is also from track decals. And then of course I got my little Instagram handle up there too. My goal is to pretty much hit as many tracks as possible and start really filling this whole rear window out with as many tracks as I can. You know, I'm really trying to hit as many as I possibly can. I'm driving to each one of these, so it's not like I'm trailering. I drive the car to the track, race, and then come home. These are obviously all closer ones, and a little bit of a spoiler. The top one is obviously Spring Mountain. No, I have not raced my actual car there. That was, used theirs, but you know, I just, whatever. I figured I ran the track, I deserved to have the sticker. But aside from that, that is all that is on the exterior rear of the car. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the engine bay now. So opening up the engine bay, first thing you're gonna notice are the Paragon caps that I was talking about with the front. Here are the two rear ones. And then of course, right here, please don't mind my penny skateboard. Here is the Jake Skull logo cargo liner that I got pretty soon after I picked up the car. I wanted to protect the trunk as much as possible, you know, in case I put food back here. Don't put your ice cream back here, you're definitely gonna need it. But anyway, next thing you're gonna notice are probably the Paragon Performance carbon fiber hood struts. Now, I really highly recommend everyone get these. Not only are they not too expensive, I got these for $149.99, but they also are able to open the hood a lot faster and stronger. And this is actually all the way open. So this is significantly higher up than your stock strut would open your rear cover. So if you have the stock one, it'll only open it to maybe about like here. This is technically opened up all the way to what they call service mode, I believe. And this actually just does it by itself. And you'll notice just overall in general, the struts are just much stronger than the stock ones. And of course, looks better with the carbon fiber. Next up in the engine bay is going to be the oil catch can, yet another Paragon Performance item that I have. They really do make some great products, and I like the price point on all of them too. So for the catch can, I paid $154.99. Next up in the engine bay, it's going to be a little hard to show you or see, but down in there we have the Soul Performance Sport Cats. Now this is probably one of the more expensive items that I purchased aside from the rims and tires, but definitely one of the loudest differences. You know, of course the CORSA exhaust, I'm sure on its own makes some serious noise, but when you put these Soul Performance Sport Cats on your C8, I promise you are going to wake up your neighbors in the morning or at night, or even during the day when you're driving by. They'll know who's going by because these things are freaking crazy. Now for these, they were actually a lot more, as far as I know right now, than when I purchased them. I got them for a great price of $2,750. But I believe these days they're going more for about $3,500 to even $4 grand. So definitely an expensive piece, and very glad that I got it for the price that I did. Now, I believe that is everything on the exterior of the car. So as you can see, quite a bit of modifications and quite a lot of money spent on the exterior of the car. And really the only thing that you see is the digital plate that I didn't even buy. And then of course the tow hooks. Again, probably the loudest thing on the exterior of the car with that red strap now. So we're gonna move on to the interior of the car, and done quite a bit in here, I will say. Really quick, I forgot, actually, I do have the Paragon Performance jack pucks permanently installed on my car. That way, you know, it's easier just to get up on the lift whenever I need to bring it in for anything. And so, as you can see on the list here, those were $165.88. And while we're at it, of course, I do also have the 1UP Lighting Underglow X kit. You can see there's so many things that it was bound to happen that I forgot a couple. So the Underglow kit, as you can see, $173.66. So starting off with the first thing that I did on the interior here, we have the 3-piece carbon fiber trim kit, which is where all the chrome is when you get this car, which now you can get the blackout kit, which is nice, instead of the chrome if you wanted it. And that goes for the speakers as well. You can get the nice blackout kit instead of the loud chrome, which I really wish I could have got. But for the 3-piece carbon fiber trim kit, pretty expensive, $670.11. And then we're gonna go ahead and start talking about this wheel here, which I've done a little bit more work to recently. Please excuse the disgusting damage that I unfortunately did to the Z button. It's kind of annoying. When I pulled the stock one off, there's a piece of plastic from the chrome one that's usually here. And when I put this one on, I heard it rattling every time I turned the wheel. Really started bugging me, so I had to actually take the airbag out, which is the only way to take this button out. And it's such a pain to get these things out. I swear, it's like the most annoying thing. So I do have another one. I just don't feel like installing it right now because it is, again, a pain to take this stupid airbag out and just plop that in. So I'm just gonna deal with this scratch mark that I have here for now. It's not too big of a deal. But on the wheel itself, we do have this carbon overlay here to cover this chrome. And this is the CCS, whatever brand that is, from Paragon Performance. I got it on their website. And this is $99.99 for both sides. And then of course the Paragon Performance red Z button. Technically I went through 2 of these, but I'm only just gonna count the one, which is $34.99. The next thing you probably notice are the carbon paddles. So the carbon paddles were very easy to install. I highly recommend them if you want them, and don't get the overlay ones where you just kind of stick it on the back of the stock ones. Just get the actual carbon fiber replacements. They really are super simple to install. Don't be scared of that, and you will not regret like just the stock look and feel of the actual replacement ones. These were $289.99. Now the next piece that I actually did today is the carbon fiber lock trim, which I wanted to cover that chrome up. And this is also CCS made this, and I bought it off Paragon Performance for $109.99. Next up on the interior is going to be the Pro Clip wireless charging mount and little bracket that you get with it to make it possible to put your phone next to the display here, infotainment display. The cord itself kind of droops over behind the where the temperature readout would be on the top here, and just kind of plugs into that 12 volt down there, and the passenger footwell really stays out of the way. And I mean, you know, there is a cable right there, which might bother some people, but it's really clean. You don't even see it when you're driving. As you can see right here, it's really just a clean install, and obviously another simple install that you can do that is much better than having to put your phone back here. While it is really nice to have that wireless charger there, it's just so impractical. You can't even, like, you know, if you're using Waze or you need to use your phone for any other reason that you can't on Apple Maps. Now, I'm not saying use your phone while you're driving, of course, but, like, you know, having access to your phone right here can be vital sometimes. You know, you might be on a long road trip, you just need to change the song or something, and you don't want to do it on here, whatever. Either way, it's nice to have your phone out in front of you. I can't recommend ProClip enough to anyone with a C8. It is just a super necessary thing to have for your C8. And this setup with the wireless charger ran me $125.33. Now, next up on the interior is something it's kind of hard to show you, but as you can see, it's tucked away back there, up behind the carpeting. That is the pedal commander for the C8. It makes the car even sportier than it already is. I have it set to, I believe, just sport something, one of the sport modes, one of the lower sport settings, and it's significantly more intense than your stock pedal. You know, if I go like this, I'm at 50% throttle, instead of, like, you know, if this is full throttle, this is probably half. You know, I'm only like a quarter of the throttle is like 50-60%, and then if I'm at 50%, I'm at 100% throttle at that point. So pretty valuable item to have, and it cost me $250. Now again, there are so many things on this list. This is why I needed a list. Actually, the struts, the rear carbon fiber struts, I did not have on the list. I had to look up really quick. And two more things I missed on the exterior, just goes to show how many things I have done to this car. Hyperco Paragon Performance 1-inch lowering springs. Those were $399.97. So that actually does, you know, I forget that I have those, but that definitely helps the car's appearance with its stance. It is lowered an inch, and you can definitely tell when I'm sitting next to a stock C8, especially with the 1-inch drop on the rims all the way around on the front and the rears. Definitely sits quite a bit lower than your stock C8 would. And then of course on top of that, they are stiffer, which is great for the track. The other thing that I forgot to mention was a huge one, which I completely forgot, but you can't see it because it's hidden behind the trunk, which is the Halltech intake. So the Halltech intake cost me $743.32. Now really quickly, just looking over this list, I believe that is everything. So I do have to quickly add up the struts, the rear struts that I didn't add on originally. So the total cost of everything that I have done to this car is $19,294.87. That is absolutely insane. I can't believe that's how much I've spent. And again, going back to the whole fact that I have not done really any exterior modifications. I don't have a body kit, I don't have a wing yet. All of that still needs to be done, and that's easily lots and lots more. I mean, I could probably spend $10,000 if I started doing some of that stuff. If I wanted the real carbon fiber stuff, I'm still up in the air, not sure what direction we're gonna go yet, but I might end up going the carbon fiber route, which means I'm probably gonna have to replace all of the carbon flash stuff on the exterior of the car, at least a lot of it, just to make sure that everything actually blends in and matches properly. So one last thing to add is that I did also order the Paragon Performance harness bar and the Sparco harnesses, and I actually also have a fire extinguisher, a mini fire extinguisher that's gonna go in the passenger side in front of the seat there. So that is all ordered already. That's about a little over $1,000 worth of stuff that is on its way. Unfortunately, the harness bar in red is on back order right now. I didn't really want to just settle for the black one. I wanted the red to match all the red going on with the car already. So that is on the way, and that is something I'm going to add, but it is not part of that price list, which again is scary. So we're $20,000 over into modifications on this car. You know, I got my first car, a BMW 325xi, for about $10,000, maybe a little over. It's kind of scary. I could pretty much buy 2 of those at this point. Definitely not something I want to be thinking about, but it is true, you know, spent a lot of money on the modifications to this car, and I don't regret any of them. You know, I got a lot of great deals. Definitely keep an eye out for those coupon codes. That could save you so much money, honestly. I hope this video helped you out if you were thinking about doing any of these modifications, or if you just wanted to see a car with any of these specific items on it. Here you go. Sounds great. Go check out some of the other videos that I have up of the actual exhaust of the car. I have one of the titanium exhaust when it was on, and I have one of this current setup right now with the CORSA and the Soul Performance Sport Cats. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. So until next time, peace.